Hi everyone, and welcome inside Mountain America Stadium for the Devil Source Postgame Show following Sun Devil football's 35-31 victory over the UCF Knights. With this win, they move to 7-2 overall after clinching bowl eligibility last week at Oklahoma State. They're now 4-2 in Big 12 play, and despite the win, Kenny Dillingham said this was a game that they played terribly, and the coaching was not where it needed to be. He said there were many things that needed to be improved, only 260 yards of total offense for the Sun Devils tonight. But what went right for ASU that allowed it to still pull out that win?
I think UCF kind of shot itself in the foot near the end of the half. Great special teams play with the block punt that was returned for a touchdown. Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson, their chemistry continues to grow. They made really big plays when it mattered. Second half, 2 touchdown drives to come back and lead, and the last one was the game winner. If Kenny Dillingham is right, that ASU keeps getting out-coached and keeps getting outplayed and still is 7-2, imagine what the future looks like in Tempe, given that scenario, because nobody expected this team to be 7-2 after the mess that he inherited 2 years ago, being 3-9 last year. These players after the game, they talked about how much the culture's improved, about how their best players are expecting a higher level of effort and focus and determination than anything that they had a year ago. And it's just, I keep saying it, Gab, but this reminds me of 2007, Dennis Erickson's first year. Our team won 10 games. Should never have happened. When players believe things that you don't expect take place. And after this game, one of the things I was struck by, on the field, the players looked like it was no big deal. It was like, okay, yeah, we won another game. They've come to expect more of themselves as this year has unfolded, and they've worked for that. And so now the standards are higher. And when that happens, it creates the opportunity for things like this. And I don't think people expected there to be meaningful football played in here in the middle to the late part of November at ASU with a team that has a chance to still be in the race in the Big 12 and playing for a better bowl and all of these things. It's a pretty special thing.
And Kenny Dillingham has just done an incredible job with this program, like you mentioned. He's a part of why there is so much to be excited about in the Valley and the future of Sun Devil football. 2 guys that also contribute to that, and you talk about the guys who really set an example in practice, set a standard that everybody tries to play up to. Jordan Tyson and Sam Levitt, and they looked no different tonight. Really, really impactful on this game. Sam Levitt led a game-sealing drive. So what did you see from them, and what can fans look forward to from them?
Well, Cam Scadaboo didn't play in this game. ASU's rushing attack was okay in the first half, but then really seemed to bog down. I think UCF has they get a lot of TFLs. Their defensive line is pretty impactful. They are an aggressive style, so they knew that they were going to try to take away the run as much as they could without Scadaboo. Force Sam Levitt to be able to make some completions. The versatility of the passing game for ASU hasn't really been good. It's been kind of mostly Jordan Tyson, a little bit of Shimon Mateer sprinkled in. But there's just something about the resolve of these players to where their backs have been against the wall many times throughout the season, and they've responded, and they did so. I thought that Jordan Tyson's drive, where he had the 3rd and 8 high point catch to move the chains, and later on the touchdown at the end of the 3rd quarter. Then they need another one from him in the 4th quarter. He makes another couple plays and another touchdown. He had 7 catches, I think 99 yards. Sam Levitt only threw for 160-something yards, but 3 touchdowns. It wasn't that pretty all the time. That he was running around for his life, sometimes because the protection wasn't good enough, sometimes because he thought he saw or felt something pressure-wise that maybe wasn't there. But he's got moxie. He's just got an X-factor sort of thing about him. And again, no interceptions, no jeopardy balls. And there's just a winning quality that you can't necessarily put words to, but you know when you see it, that these guys have. And Dillingham talked after the game about the potential for special things to come into the future because Tyson's a sophomore, Levitt's a redshirt freshman. he said people should be throwing cars, condos, whatever. Every business in the state should be trying to get an NIL deal with these guys. It's bizarre almost for me to be thinking about where we were a few years ago in college athletics to now, the NCAA investigation, all these things. But this is the reality, and those guys played just big when it mattered.
Yeah, and all those things you just mentioned came within a game that was kind of all over the place. There were tons of momentum swings. The middle eight, as Kenny Dillingham always preaches about, was just absolutely wild. But before that, ASU's first touchdown was off a blocked punt, and then Montana Warren took it to the house just on that side of the stadium. So what did you see from ASU up until that point? Because things were kind of stagnant after that blocked punt until the middle eight.
Yeah, I felt like they needed a spark. That was their first touchdown of the game. They did a really nice job, kind of bringing two guys diagonally, and coming in. Martell Hughes got the block. He was the second guy that's designed for that. Really great job, Montana Warren taking it back for a touchdown. Those are two of ASU's young, very promising players on defense. So it's sort of like fitting that's what happened. Then they went through that long stretch where they didn't have anything kind of working for them. And then they put together that 4 or 5 minute drive at the end of that half. Shamal Mateer touchdown from Sam Levitt. UCF, I don't know what the guy was thinking, taking the ball out of the end zone in that situation after he bobbled it to the 1 yard line. I don't think it was a safety. Some people might disagree, but you're going to get forward progress in that situation. But then what is UCF doing, calling a passing play rather than just trying to run out the clock? And LT Welch, incredible job of just stepping in, making the interception for the touchdown. He had a phenomenal game last week against Oklahoma State, 3 or 4 passes defended, one of the best PFF defensive backs in the country. And now in a big moment, ASU went from trailing 17-7 to leading at the half. Their middle eight scoring differential is 63-6-13 on the season. That's literally one of the main reasons that they are 7-2.
And then all of that was kind of the tail of the first half. In the second half, things didn't go necessarily as smoothly, not as high scoring for the Sun Devils. RJ Harvey for UCF kind of came alive. You tweeted out that in that first half he was on track or below pace for his lowest amount of rushing yards, which came against Florida. He had 75 there, but he kind of came alive, gave UCF the spark they needed, and definitely had a big impact on that second half. So what's the tale of the second half now?
Yeah, ASU's run defense was great in the first half. They were swarming, made a lot of plays, rallying to the ball. The only negative was they gave up too many third down conversions, third and medium, where UCF was throwing the ball successfully, a couple fourth down plays. I think that limited ASU, but then Harvey got on track in the second half. He had a very good third quarter, one of the best running backs that I've seen play against ASU in recent years. And really was primarily because of what ASU was able to do in key moments in those 2 drives between Levitt and Tyson that allowed them to kind of overcome that.
And then we can't talk about this game without talking about Kyson Brown. He's the running back who had to step up in place of Cam Scadaboo, who was out with an injury. Kenny Dillingham just told us this was a huge moment for him. There's so much that he can learn from starting in this game. So what did you see from Kyson Brown tonight?
Look, he had some good runs, and then he had some other runs where he probably needed to be a little more patient. That's natural, I think, for young running backs. UCF is one of the better run defenses in the country. So it's not really a surprise that UCF was trying to load up, play in the backfield, and take away a lot of those runs. I believe he's going to be a good player over the long run, and he's demonstrated over the last 2 weeks that there's a lot of potential there. He's a very good athlete, and I think situationally he's going to have better feel as time goes forward.
And as time goes forward, the Sun Devils' Big 12 championship hopes and bowl odds have just gone up, and they'll look forward to that. And so right now as we speak, BYU and Utah are playing BYU, the top team in the Big 12. So what's the Big 12 kind of big picture as a whole for the Sun Devils, sitting, as we mentioned previously, 7-2 and 4-2 in conference?
16 teams. A lot of the better teams don't play each other. Colorado doesn't play BYU or Iowa State. ASU doesn't play Colorado or Iowa State. Anything can happen. It's kind of just too many permutations to go through it all. ASU is probably going to need to win its 3 remaining games in order to play in the Big 12 championship. the game against BYU could be incredible environment. We'll see what happens with BYU playing Utah right now. Bottom line is, this is what ASU fans have been hoping for and wanting, is these really big games late in the season, and especially when you have a 12-team playoff. Probably only going to be one Big 12 team that represents, but you never know. Two is possible, and we'll see what happens.
Well, that BYU game, that should be big, like you mentioned, right back here in 2 weeks. But before that, Sun Devils have to head to Manhattan, Kansas to take on the Kansas State Wildcats. Kenny Dillingham said they'll be big underdogs in that one. It'll be cold, it'll be loud, but we'll have you covered all week long as they get set to do that. We've enjoyed providing you with coverage here at this UCF game. It was a fun time. Thank you so much for watching the Sun Devil Source Postgame Show. Until next time, I'm Gabby Chernoff and Chris Cartman.